All right. This is Stacy, and this is Tip Tuesday. And in this video, this is a members only video, and in this video, we're going to go over the tips required for our, hold on one second, for a foundation. When we look at a foundation, it's much like looking at a floor plan for a framer. And it has all of the section views and all of the marks, and they are all different. And you need to know what they are and why they're different and where to go to understand what what it's telling you. Okay, so let me get the screen up, and then we're going to talk about foundation plans, and a very good one too, as a matter of fact. All right, let's get all of this. All right, here we go. So we're looking at a foundation for, what is this? Oh, this is a new animal center, veterinarian center from the ground up. And so let's go to the other page. Let's see if it's going to switch us over. Okay, so this is the full plan. And anytime you see any of these, that means you have a large set of plans and they're breaking up each of the sections. And so page S103 will have everything over here. Page S101 will have everything in detail that's here. And then page S102 will have everything here. So for this full foundation, we have at least three main cutouts. Okay, so that was the first one that we were looking at. Okay, and you see where the match lines are. But when you have something like this, when you do your measurements, you don't measure any farther than the match line. Okay, so this portion of this wall, you won't include this because it'll be on your other one. It'll be on sheet 102. Okay. So we have the basically the foundation section views. And we know what that means, right? Each section view is marked in a particular way. And so what the architect is telling us or showing us for this section from here to here, okay? And it's important to know that this symbol is not the same as this symbol. Okay, this is more than likely the building section view. Yeah, it's the same. It's 2 over S501. So what they've done is basically said, I'm going to cut the building, and the view that you see at image number 2 on page S501, it's as if you're standing in the cut, but you're facing the way the tip of the arrow is. Okay, that's another class. Okay, so when we build a foundation, what do? We have to determine how many linear feet of each portion of the foundation is. And this helps us do that. And so when I do a foundation, excuse me, a foundation takeoff or a wall framing takeoff, I'm going to separate, and it'll be a lot of takeoffs. So you will be able to see this, member. If you're a concrete contractor, this will be in your set of study videos this weekend. And this is actually the set of plans for next Monday's review. But I wanted to give this as a tip today to show you, yeah, I'm going to do the complete estimate, determine how many man hours for each section, and do a good video representation of what we're looking at. I should probably not hear myself in the earphones, so I'm going to have to change that. That's what's going on here. All right. So if I was doing the takeoff, right, and we got to think of what we're doing, we are determining how many linear feet of foundation wall we have to put together. And we know that in that foundation wall is we're going to see rebar, we're going to see a whole bunch of stuff when we look at the detail of this line. Okay. And so we'll begin. Now, the first thing you always want to do is make sure you have the scale right. And 3/16. Okay, I agree. And you know, you want to measure a portion that they already have to make sure the plans are to scale, but I know that these are. All right, so remember, I'm measuring the foundation. So what is this showing us here? 13S104. This is the foundation, but then we have breaks right here and a break there. That just means it's a footer, a header, a door, most likely, right? Because we have to have doors. And this is the foundation, right? This is the bottom of the building. And so any breaks in that, you're going to reference the bottom of the building. So what kind of break do we have at the bottom of the building? Well, we have the threshold for the doors, okay? But what I do is when we're measuring how many linear feet of foundation, we're just going to go through that. We're not going to eliminate any of the gaps there, okay? So we're going to go from this end all the way to that one. So basically, the architect is going to give you the different numbers. See, this is the same too. So the main foundation is pretty much 13, whatever we see at 13S104. Okay. And so we just measure that. And they give you different numbers because the foundation is built a different way at those different areas. The ones that are built the same way have the same number, right? So 13S104 here, there, this whole stretch, and wherever we see it, that just tells me that they're built the same way. And see, you see something like this, 1 over S104. I'd have to look at the section view to really get a good idea of what they're showing me there. But when I look at foundations, I know I'm going to see a foundation, the continuous footer is basically what we see. And of course, on every foundation, you're going to have columns, right? But in terms of the column and the foundation, it's only going to show you the column pad if it has a column pad. Okay, so you got to think in a construction set, everything is broken down by its scope. This is a structural set. So the structural set contains the foundation, the structural framing, the roof framing, headers, window and door headers, all of that, and shear walls, and then all of the details that go with all of this. So the columns are not a foundation scope of work. If you think, I mean, it is, but it's not, right? So what we will see is where the foundation, where the column is located in the foundation, and this square is a foundation or column pad. Okay, so not only do we have the full slab on grade, we have to be mindful of where are our column pads. Okay, and not every wall that we see here is a load bearing wall. Okay, all of the load bearing walls are walls that are built on the foundation. And so, what what exactly these are, I'd have to see. And it says typical. And so wherever I see that symbol, all of these that look like this, meaning this one and that one and all of those, but not this one, not that one, right? Because it looks different. So everything that looks like whatever they have typical next to is going to be the same construction. So they basically they don't have to put this symbol here, 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 and here. But they're showing us that, yeah, that one's different, even though it kind of looks the same, but it doesn't. Okay, so always look for that TYP, typical. Because whatever that is, this is, that is. So you just got to measure it and figure out what it is. All right, so what we want to do right now, see, remember we have a lot of sections because we had a big floor plan to break down. So here's a section view, the footing pad we just talked about. Okay, and so now you have your section views. Your section views give you everything you need in terms of the construction. Now, from your plan view, we measure, or you can measure, how many linear feet of each of the walls that we have, each of the continuous footers we have. But once we look at the section view, now we are able to determine the height of that continuous footer and the rebar that is going through the continuous footer. That's part of the concrete scope of work too. You have to make sure you understand how many of these you need per span that you measured. That's why it's important to me that when I measure all my continuous footers, I measure them independently because 7 over S104 is not built the same way that 13 over S104 is. So that's why whether it's a foundation wall, the continuous footers there, or on a floor plan, same thing. The walls are different, the foundation walls are different. So you will have a series of linear amounts that coincide with each of your section views you see here. Okay, and it's pretty clear where they begin and end. Okay, and if it doesn't have, like this one, if it doesn't have one of these and one of those, then it's not a section view. It's something else. And it's typically a building. Well, I shouldn't say it's not a section view. It's a building section view. And this is a bad one. You know why? Because it's a bad building section view. I don't even think these plans are fully complete. Oh, wait. There's one. Okay, maybe that's it. Because if it's a building section view, it, oh yeah, no, that's my bad. Yeah, it needs a page and an image number so you can go look at it. Okay, so you're on your foundation plan. You got to go through the tedious task of measuring how many linear feet per type that you have. And in this case, if they happen to be the same, 13 over S104, right? 13, 13, and somewhere else, it's the same kind of wall. So yeah, you can group all those together. But anything else that's not, here's a 2. Okay, here's the 2 here. Wait, what's going on? Okay, that's a building section view. The 2 over S501 and 502. All right, so that's what you got to do when you see these. You'll have, I mean, if you have 13, you probably have 13 different types of measurements. If you got 16, however many, 15, 16. So you'll have as many individual measurements as you probably have pictures. And that's what you want because you want the detail of how each of the spans are created. Okay, same thing here. So once you do like the first page, the second page will probably be a lot of the same numbers. Got a lot of eights here, you know? So it's pretty easy. Now I'm using, I won't say the name, one takeoff software, but understand that I did create my own takeoff software for you that works probably better than this, a lot more appealing, and a lot cheaper. See, when I talk to my clients, what you guys need to understand is that a takeoff tool is nothing more than a ruler. You don't want your one takeoff tool to not only measure, but then determine the material cost because that always changes. So once you put it in once, you got to keep putting it in. Don't put it in. This is a ruler. Use it as a ruler. You should have another system for material costs and another system for man hours. Okay. So buy the cheapest ruler you can get, is my whole point. Don't buy the $2,600 a year ruler if you can help it. They make it really seem like it's so much sophistication to it, which it is, which you self performer most of the time you don't have time to fill in that all the stuff. I have two of those that I've uh, purchased. Luckily, before they started selling the license per year, I own my two licenses, and to this day, I have not filled in anything. I use it as a ruler. And then I learn my trade, and then that's how you become good. Don't use one tool for everything. Okay, so if this is what you like, make sure to take a one on one class with me or review your plans one on one with me. Either way, that works because, I'm such a good teacher. You don't only need about 4 or 5 lessons, honestly, and you'll be on your way because it's really all about the tools you use and just repeat, just bid on everything. Bid on everything. Do as many takeoffs as you can per month. Just bid on everything. You don't care, oh, what if I win? Oh, that'd be great. And you can just tell them, hey, I'm busy. I didn't expect to be this busy. That makes you look good. But in order to become a really good estimator, you have to bid on everything, okay? And get the right tools. And a takeoff tool is necessary. Okay, and a good one. A good ruler, but not an expensive ruler. Okay, so let's look at the details. Because once we did all that measuring and stuff, right, we've got to go now and determine, how many cubic yards of concrete we need, right? So to, 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 de- to determine your cubic yard, cubic is three, right? So you need three measurements. Okay. So for concrete, one is our length. We've already measured the length. Two is the depth, how far down under the earth it's going. Okay. And our detail views tell us that, right? 1 foot, 6 inches plus 3 inches plus 1.5 inch. So what's that? Two, no. Yeah. Two. Is that a Is that a foot or just inches? 1.5, that's inches. Okay. So 1 foot 9 inches, 10 inches, 11, 2 feet. So your depth, 2 feet? I think we got all that. Yeah, because here to, oh wait, that's six. 1 foot 6 inches depth, and then the width is two. And so your length that you measured, okay, times 2 times 1.5, because that's 6 inches. That's cubic feet. And to change it to cubic yards, you divide by 27. And that's how many cubic yards of concrete you have. And so, for pricing purposes, that's for this individual stretch. And yeah, you have to do it for everyone. And it says per plan. Oh, it's the footing per plan. And yeah, you're going to have a schedule of all of those column pads that's going to tell you the uh the dimensions, how thick it is, and the width and the length, or yeah, the width and the length and the depth. You'll have a schedule for that, and that may be in this video and future episodes for you. But as far as tips for your foundation, It's the same as if you're the framer. You need to break down all of the foundation footings based on the section views. Go to each of the section views, like we just did, and determine the depth, how deep, and how wide. Okay. If it says per plan, then there's somewhere on the plan it'll tell you. You won't have to guess. Okay. So if you have any questions, member, about any of this content, make sure you and I'm not going to listen to myself while I do this. Make sure you email me at education at sfjohnsonconsulting.com, and make sure also, let me know what you think about the content. Talk to you soon, and look for new content next Tuesday.